Hello and welcome everybody. Today I am going to recap day 4 of Magic Camp with all kinds of photos and videos that were taken throughout the day. At the end of the video, there's a lengthy discussion on the final thoughts of Magic Camp because it is sadly the last night of Magic Camp. Let's get started. We start the day off by recapping the lessons we've learned in the past week and trying to play different standard decks.
That was honestly pretty impressive. It killed you very, very quickly. And there's one game I would have died turn 4 if I didn't have a lot of cards that interacted with it.
Like plasma holding it?
In game 1, I went down to 6 on my turn 4, and then I played a nutrient block that made a munitions token, and I sacrificed it to my thing that destroyed target creature and killed 2 creatures.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I came back. Which is...
Nutrient Block is such an awesome deck.
It's cool, yeah.
It's like one of my favorite cards in the
I also think that in terms of cohesion, we can work on talking about cards for it, but Dana and Rob, you guys built a pretty cohesive deck, I thought.
Yay.
So, you had a lot of things that worked with each other. It was a deck, for anyone that didn't see it, that was built around the blue rare that copies triggered abilities.
It's like
It's
Panharmonicon, but for like ETBs, basically.
Yeah, it was a 4-mana 3/4, and that deck was pretty cool, and it did a lot of things, and it abused the card that they had drafted pretty well, which I thought was cool.
No,
So,
but the Panharmonicon that only does ETB is right?
Well, it has multiple cards. It has like the 7 mana.
I think I also want to shout out Dana and Robbie's deck because you two correctly identified that you were the only blue drafters at the table.
Yeah,
You
Blue
knew what lane to go into by reading the packs, and I thought that was pretty
Blue
impressive.
was quite open.
and I don't know how intentional it was, but I was drafting blue for almost all of pack 1. And then after drafting blue for almost all of pack 1, because I thought all of the best cards were blue cards, it had kind of closed off, and so I got out of that one. But you successfully sent a signal, and I got out of your colors. So I don't know, it's a question on, like we said, a lot of the time you don't have to do that intentionally. It just happens when you take good cards. But I did. My draft was 10 blue cards at the end of pack 1.
You said you were
see the
locked in
drafts
on
on
the
the other
color
side of the
because
table, but-
you had almost all of the colors.
I had no idea what my deck was going to look like until I built it.
And then,
I wasn't certain what colors I was playing until I built my deck.
wait, what?
I wasn't kidding. I wasn't kidding when I said that my deck was either going to be very good or an absolute disaster. All right, this was my other question was if Nora was coming because I was going to wait for Nora to get here. So I'm glad that worked out. Okay, so this morning we've talked about a lot of things throughout this week, right? One of the big things that we've talked about is creating a game plan and how we are going to win games of Magic. I think at this point we've seen a lot of standard decks. Standard is in a place where we're about to go into RCQ season. I know that's what we said a lot of us want to prioritize. And the format is pretty new. I think you've heard Nathan and I say a couple of times, but the decks probably won't look like this in a couple of weeks. Things are going to change, and yeah, standard changed a lot. So what we're going to prioritize today is getting reps on the different strategies. And so that when, one of the things that you want to be able to do, especially when you go to a bigger tournament like an RCQ, is if there's one clear best deck, you want to be able to play it. One of the things that I, struggled with, because I've only played a certain amount of constructed decks, is the prowess deck was something that was pretty uncomfortable for me. But, when 40% of a tournament plays it, it's clearly the best deck. And so I played it in a lot of events I maybe didn't want to. I definitely think it helped me as a player, whether I want to do it again or not. And so we're going to try to talk today about, some of the different decks. If there's strategies you haven't played before, we're going to try to do that. And we're going to talk about the deck's different game plans in specific matchups. The regional championships are open decklist tournaments where you get to sit down and you get to look at your opponent's deck list. And for the most part, you don't get to do that in RCQs and things like that. And so we've been kind of assuming that we don't know what our opponent is playing. But it might be interesting to say, I have this hand and I would probably keep it if I didn't know what my opponent was playing, but because my opponent is playing a specific strategy, let's reconsider. Stuff like that. And so when you first sit down with your opponent, let's talk about kind of what our decks do and what the strategies are, and then we will play a couple of games, walk around, see what's going on, and then tomorrow, in an hour or two, when we're a little more hunkered down and focused and all together, we will look at talking about maybe 1 or 2 more concepts before the weekend ends. Yes.
On the knowing the opponent's deck in RCQs, it actually is a fair amount of the time. 1, if you go to a lot, you can kind of have an idea. And 2, in top 8, then you often know, and because you might have played the person before or know somebody, so it can be a mix sometimes at RCQs.
I've also seen RCQs run with an open deck list top 8.
Oh, interesting. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those as well.
Even if you don't know your opponent's deck list when you sit down, by the time you play 2 turns of game 1, you're going to know what they're doing. If you prepared and you played the format, you should be able to understand what the games are about, whether you can see their deck list or not.
I mean, most of the time
Right.
when you're
And that would be
there's
difficult.
a couple of exceptions to this in standard, but most of the time when your opponent plays their first land, you have an idea what they're
Yep.
You know, like, for example, I think right now, if I saw Lush Portico, I would know what deck Robbie is on. If I saw, you know, Spire Bluff Canal is still legal, if I saw that, I would know there's one of 2 Cauldron decks.
There's one deck that only plays 1 cauldron. And that one's more like
Yeah, one of the 2 is a deck. You know, so like you can kind of get an idea in a closed deck list tournament. But I want to talk a little bit more about what specific things we're trying to do against certain decks. Because unlike Limited, where you know we talked about the fact that your game plan kind of changes, a lot of the decks are similar. In this format, that is not true, right? All of the decks are built in a very specific way. We talked about how Control can be kind of difficult to build when you don't know what the format is because it targets specific things. Things like that are, you know, more relevant to Standard. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what the decks are doing and maybe how that changes some of your strategies. I think an example of that is like the Dimir deck. Kaido is like one of the stronger cards in Standard currently and frequently wins games. So a lot of the time you have to make, say you have a removal spell that deals 2 damage, you torch the tower. You might have to remove a creature going into their turn 3 instead of letting them attack because of Kaido. And you know that that's a card in their deck, and so you need to like kind of think about that and let that change your game plan. And so let's play some games, and then you know maybe in an hour or 2, once we've walked around and got an idea of where people are at, then we'll look at introducing 1 or 2 more concepts or you know things of that nature.
I didn't see the.
All right.
All right.
All right. Let's get to gaming.
All right. I'm gonna zero my Kaido.
So if
No tie binder.
I encourage you to draw this next thing.
Sick.
I know.
Okay,
I knew he had a
so-
spell here from his hand.
I
knew something he was
Yeah,
doing.
your little chainsaw.
I think upkeep
Any
is
advantage doing it now over doing it upkeep?
No.
Put it like this.
Unless you think this deck might be playing overprotection.
Yeah. The answer is that you're about to
I
ultimate
think it
play.
This isn't a good matchup.
No, wait, no.
Figure
This
out
deck's
how
playing
to-
Sure, you don't want to
I'm-
cast that island.
I have the
yeah,
deck list,
actually,
right? Do you have the deck list?
Okay.
It's not
Sure.
pretty good,
Yeah.
but then you
Yeah.
have good things to
Okay.
say.
Okay.
Then I
Right,
think
yeah.
I might as
So
well
then
just
I
wait till you
adjust.
So, pass. But in your upkeep, you can untap though.
I lose to this like.
In your upkeep, I do think I drop it.
I've never looked at this card.
What's the advantage to doing it on the upkeep?
If
I read what
you
this card does?
have a protection spell, then it costs your mana on your turn.
Yep.
I see. I have a great card now.
What do you do? Tragic.
Sure.
I'll also fetch.
I'm definitely.
I'm gonna respond to the
See, now you can't go like Hydra.
bitter
but-
triumph
I have no creatures.
like this.
No, I still don't load my position to be honest. But,
Okay, I'm gonna simplify this.
Additional cost. I'm gonna pay.
and now
As soon as
I'm,
you
like,
ultimate
upset
Ral,
with it.
the game becomes about can you untap for 1
100
turn
target
after you
non-creature
ultimate
spell. I'm
Ral?
gonna respond.
If yes, the game is
I'm gonna play
certified.
consult the
If
start
no,
cards.
maybe the game
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
not
6, 7.
over because you died or something.
Not kicked.
Therefore, I would
It's really good. I think it's better than memory
taking
damage.
1 token for a world
It's
flag
pretty,
instead of
yeah, the 2 mana mode is
So
strong.
putting a lot less pressure on you tomorrow.
Well, no, I was
Yeah,
that was you. I was
But the Jessica I already had for the second game here, but I sideboarded and he didn't.
How'd you like it? Is it really? Like, real delirious.
I think I do like it, yeah. Yeah.
This deck's on my radar to build. It doesn't share many cards with other dual decks.
Cool, yeah.
Go ahead.
And it's cool, yeah. And it is actually like attacking with combat damage.
Do you think that was a good sequence? I don't know. I think.
It makes sense to fight over cards.
Are you keeping your hand?
I mean, I have a
Now we move on to Limited with some limited gameplay. To see Rikki draft her deck, that will be in a future video.
I have a strong card in my hand, and I have a 2 and a black card and I wish I could hold up this other of these two, but
Well, I don't know. Maybe you keep a hand that is
Five.
mountain, swamp, swamp, swamp.
Cracker,
three drop,
how-
three drop,
which
three.
mode?
Do you work or do you?
Okay.
On turn 2, you want to
We warp it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Like,
it gets, it
unless
becomes
it's
like
like,
a
oh,
3.
yeah.
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 So look at the top 2 cards, put 1 into your hand, the other
This
into the
card
graveyard.
worked
1,
Do you feel you're behind by taking a turn off? If he
I think if I
also
took
took a
I think if I
turn,
took a turn off on the turn, then he doesn't really have anything I would feel to
so you think he has a
But at the
removal
same time,
spell?
given I have
You think he?
How I think about this spot is through the question of how can I spend my mana in a productive way right now?
Yes.
Okay. And if you evaluate it in the context of multicolors, pretty much the only productive way I can spend mana on your turn at this point is a removal spell.
Yes.
So that would incentivize me to not play something high impact. For example, the Hound is like not a huge card to care about if I target. So typically playing the Hound just from my standpoint is like your default strongest play.
Okay.
If you had some sort of creature or something, it would be better to play it on a turn where I have to like untap during my turn, spend mana.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And especially because you're blue-black, I don't know your exact deck, but what I'd guess is you probably have the tools to win some late game against me in red, white, black. A lot of the time.
Right, yes. Okay.
So, yeah, I'm not sure what your hand is, but the default play in these spots would typically be some sort of not high-impact creature, whatever that is.
Yeah, no, you're right. 100%, yeah.
The fact you have face down cards is 1/1s and 2/2s.
I don't know.
Get some real bodies.
Yeah.
So what are some things that have to happen in this combat? One is like this has to be blocked, right?
Right, 100% yes. The other, I would ideally like to kill living creatures.
Right.
Yeah. I just want to make sure because the chances of either or something that you have to combat. No, you don't
You can't really play around any sort of trick at this point.
No, yeah, also so disappointed in you. That's good to know. Okay, but there are other things in this set. What is this? So I would think.
Oh, separate.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which one. No, okay, if you give that trample.
Wait, guys, he's invincible.
Yeah,
he
I
has
think
no sleeves.
We kill one of his
We
things, all
can't
of my
get him
die.
with the war zone.
I might not actually chump block with one of the fours.
Right.
I might actually do something like 3-2 here, 2-2 here, take 4
He's immune to robots.
at this point.
Yeah,
Or actually, this is an even better block. You double block
He's
this,
immune to
block
bobots.
here,
Oh,
and then you take the
no,
4
I got
here.
one at a time.
I'm gonna
That's
kill
a
one
bigger
of these
creature.
2,
Yeah.
and this leaves you with one of these 2 and a better creature deck.
Okay.
Wait, there's no way you're
So this is probably like the best way of blocking around like the 4/5.
I got a point because I did it in impossibly hard circumstances.
So I'll kill the
If I did it,
3
No,
2
no, he did get one on me when we were playing a match against each other.
and then this dies, and you go to
But
6.
at the same time,
The only lucky Sam's making.
Draw step.
so one drops this. I like that.
I guess.
Are you like this?
Great.
I don't know, it was one of the only good picks I
I'm
had.
gonna play System
I
Highlight,
like it, so
take
I like
this, put
that.
10 drops.
Okay, I don't like it though.
What?
I like
I mean, it's fine. It's
here,
a,
think it's just
here,
Wait,
It's
we're
a-
on the draw.
it's a
one
good,
with the
it's a fine size one.
Yeah.
and then that.
Wait,
It's not
guys,
bad.
guys.
Love it.
I'm on the
You
black.
guys
As long as you get that down this turn, I think that's like the
Yes.
biggest thing that has to happen.
Stabilizer, yeah.
Swing.
It's really close. I don't think we're keeping on the floor.
Charlie,
3, 4.
have you seen Noah's unbreakable deck?
Bro,
What are you doing? Why is you're rolling his hands so you're shuffling?
Okay. It's also sunboard.
Like, I need to. I put the.
And then we do here. Well, we do here.
It was 11 robots on top of And then she mulligan, and if he just shuffled or protected,
My turn, right? And then,
Yeah.
and then draw it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're good.
And let's look.
No one need robots.
here.
No, you aren't. Bro, come on.
It's okay.
Stop trying.
Check for 6.
I'm not putting any robots on top of
Oh, it's okay.
I'm not
What's a
putting-
robot? I
I
would have that angel, but I also like gaining life right now.
Yeah.
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 I think you probably should check for
And I think we all know what your next play has
Yeah,
to
so-
be, right?
It's a 2-2
Right,
token.
so do we... Yeah, we double.
You always
Oh,
double.
you
Double,
Yeah,
100%.
especially since they will both die.
I don't want to let you need to try to find openings to get in damage in spots where that's
okay. I can see that. I can see that. All right, let's do it then.
So
And I think that
one,
we do enough damage
I think
to this way.
it was clear that it was correct.
Yeah.
to deal with it.
Block that you don't want to have to make.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. What did you?
And it becomes a 5 next turn.
Any other plays after that?
I would have
Oh, perfect.
I would make
Stuff
this
to
a
need those
cheesy
two cards
flyer.
to work. I do not care about anything else.
I need, like, I think I need to go for this.
Exosuit
I
Savior?
need to go for
I'm
this.
gonna return it to 1.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said no, and I was
I'm
like,
interested in what the rest are like.
Okay. Well, that's probably my big picture.
yeah.
Not necessarily.
You didn't have any points. You lose them all.
I didn't get
I'll exile your blocker,
Okay,
and then
okay.
I'll attack you and deal you 3.
It's not a robot. I swear.
Okay, cool.
After Limited, we took a bit of a break and we all just started gaming everywhere.
Every time, and every time I'm gonna make a Titan and I'm gonna waste it. And I make infinite Titans that all have use.
You'll see.
That is a lot more.
So we have various one-on-one games happening. We have some CDH happening here.
No, I can't. I don't have
I think there's old school happening here. I think we have some modern happening here.
I can do any number of
I think we have
times.
some more modern
And then,
happening here.
Each time I do the loop,
So,
I have to move.
just various pairing off happening at the camp.
After gaming some more, we took some time to do camp reflections.
We have everyone together. Adam had the idea that it would be useful for everyone to have some kind of like written notes as a takeaway, so that for people who absorb things that way, to have help in reflecting on time here and stuff. So while we're all together, I thought that a good way to make that happen would be to have the campers talk about, from their experiences, what were kind of the most salient takeaways and things that they learned and things that they want to internalize and think other of their peers might benefit from internalizing. So I would love that.
The biggest thing that I think made me improve the best in gameplay is I was I know that like I usually think just like 1 or 2 turns ahead, but like I think the 4 of you like really challenged me to think about what is my overall goal in the game, and I think that's probably the biggest takeaway I'm gonna take from this camp, is to always think about the overall game and not just like turn by turn and like thinking a few turns ahead, but thinking towards the end of the game.
I think for me, thinking in the first place, that was like helpful. Typically, I just play modern. I know how my deck plays into all the other decks in the format. I just play my cards, they're sequenced well against my opponent, and then just hope it kills them most of the time. And it works, because I'm playing energy, but that doesn't really work in limited or standard as well, so I've been challenged to actually think about my turn and maybe consider casting a spell, even if it's maybe not immediately as good as another one.
On the topic.
We think you did a great job of that this week, and for that, I'd love to award you the Thinker of the Week.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm the Thinker of the Week.
I think the biggest improvement I had was in limited overall. That was like the biggest thing that I was hoping to get out of the camp, and like I started off like I was kind of unsure and had like Nathan mostly like pilot me through a relatively easy like first pod that I ended up 2-1, and then by the end towards like my last draft, which I also 2-1, like it felt like I could have like a real debate with like Sam about like how the cards looked and why I want to take like this card over another, some of which ended up being correct, some of which didn't. The Dominion Bracelet, MVP of that one, which Sam wanted me to pack one, pick one, and then it wheeled.
No, I said you could. I was fine with either pick.
And I think coming into this like thing, I thought that I was much better at Constructed, which I quickly found out I was not that good comparatively. I was very quickly challenged to like think like ahead and like think about just like overall how the game is gonna play out, like Dana said. And then I also like getting asked like why on literally every single play I ever wanted to make
I don't
definitely
understand. Who expects me to have reasons for the things that I
Exactly. So I had to like, so over the course of the like days, I had to like, eventually I just had to come up with a reason for literally every single thing I did. And sometimes it was wrong, sometimes it wasn't correct, but I at least had a reason for everything.
I came in and I knew a lot about standard and limited, but it was fun to try the new set and fun to learn to play modern and learn all the different decks and settle on one for modern.
Everyone talks about like the best part about Magic's the Gathering, right? And I do feel like this event tons of fun. I met a lot of people, had like a lot of fun, made friends, all that stuff. But actually, the best part about Magic is like the pack 3 picks like 12, like perfect uncommon for your draft deck. And so I think that's actually like I feel like I've learned a lot more, like actually like vocab that I got from like Nicole, like making limited decks instead of limited bios that kind of do the same thing, where it's like you can build a green-red deck in a draft, and that's gonna work, and you're gonna win some number of games by like playing your big green-red creatures and you swing and you kill them. But like, one, it's honestly less fun, and two, you're gonna win more games if you are able to build a synergistic deck that actually works with itself, and like each card has a reason for being in it, even if the card's reason is sometimes it's bigger than everything else. And that you can actually like, that's gonna win more games, it's gonna be more fun, it's gonna be more interesting to build and to draft. And I think that that's like, as someone who actually came into this feeling the most confident about Limited, I think I actually learned the most in Limited, and I'm really, happy about being able to really reframe my...
For me, it was definitely thinking through my attacks. I'm definitely an aggro player. I love attacking, but I did realize I kind of suck at planning out my attacks. And like, a basic thing of it is just thinking, how are they gonna block when I attack? And I didn't really do that. I would get my cards, I would think through my plays, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna cast this, I draw this, I change my plan, I'm good with that. But when I actually attack people, I would make really weird attacks, and then you'd be like, oh, why'd you do that? I don't know. I didn't think about it. I didn't know how you were gonna block. So I think definitely the thing I learned most was thinking through my attacks. If I attack with this, how are they gonna block? Will they double block? What do I have in my hand that changes that? And I don't know, just planning around that. And I think that's definitely improved my gameplay, like, a lot.
Okay, so I went into this camp terrified because the most competitive I ever get is playing a tournament in which some people play arm wrestle to see who goes first. So I had no idea what to expect, and not knowing basically anyone going in was really scary for me. But Magic the Gathering is such a safe place for me because I know that I'm not going to be judged for pretty much anything. And the people who came here are so kind and supportive, and I made mistakes, but I never felt like I was a bad player. I probably had one of the most, like, for the campers, one of the least amount of experience, but I feel like I've grown a lot.
Oh yeah, I just want to say that I don't think you're gonna be judged for anything if you can explain why you do it.
Okay. Yeah, that was one thing that really helped me in that mindset. Thinking about why, thinking about my attacks, my blocks, what's the worst case scenario, what's the best case scenario, what kind of spells the opponent could have. And I think that adds so much to the game than just playing a creature and passing, because you have to think about the next turn and how you're going to win, how you're going to stabilize. And that was such a new thought process for me, and explaining why was really helpful, like having the coaches, like expecting them to ask me why, so I think about it first. And just playing slower has been so much fun and so much helpful for getting better at the game.
Yeah, I think, the more that I think about it, I'm just, I'm really appreciative of how much you guys were willing to, like, throw yourselves into the deep end. I think that a lot of these, we've talked about it a lot, but like Magic's really hard. You know, I don't know if you saw the other day when we were talking about a spot in Prowess where, you know, I was sitting there with Nathan and Paula, just like absolutely racking my brain, could not understand why they were making a play and it was different than what I was. And, you know, it's a really hard game. And so to see everybody, you know, really thinking about it deeply, and I want to be clear that, you know, you will never know the right answer. And that's something that you need to be okay with. And I think we're learning to explore those avenues. One of the things is that, you know, it seems pretty simple to say, you know, I'm gonna think. We're playing this strategy game, and you know, I'm gonna think about my game actions. And you know, Cormac and I had a nice conversation about thinking, but you know, I don't think we've discussed how difficult it is truly to think. I mean, like a lot of, you know, what separates a lot of Magic players is the ability to think about certain things. You know, a lot of these things are difficult to visualize and difficult to see, and so it's been really nice to see the amount of thinking. It's hard.
I mean, to add on to that, I think part of the challenge actually is it is really difficult to know what categorically you should be trying to think about in a game. Like, part of what I tried to work on, and I'm not saying I did the best at executing this week, but was trying to help you guys with, is identifying what do I need to self-prompt with in this moment in order to arrive at the right answer. Yep. AKA, what is this moment in the game, or what is this game about? What decisions do I need to be cognizant of? Because often enough, and you know, I've worked with a lot of people at this point, at least close to 100 now, like one-on-one, is people have the answer somewhere, you just have to help them find it themselves. And that just means that you probably know what you should do when you can prompt for the right scenario. So hopefully you guys learned a bit or two about the high-level strategy of it, but really I think this was a great exercise in figuring out how can I slow down and consider what are the options I might not previously have thought about that now apply in this situation. So thank you guys.
The focus here was specifically on like contemporary competitive formats, and I was like, you know, I'm happy to hang out, but like that's not really my focus now. And I feel like I've been able to be useful, and I'm glad that people expected that I would, despite, you know, my acknowledgement about my current focus.
You've completely changed how I'm ever gonna draft. So, like,
And I apologize for that.
Now whenever I look at a pre-release or sealed, I'm just gonna think, what's the best way that I can build this 3-color splash of 4?
I can't wait for the next time that Dana asks me if Memorial Vault is playable in this deck.
9-8 creatures on curve. 9-8 creatures on curve.
Second. I want to say first of all that part of the experience for me that was really special was I came into this having worked with some of you guys one-on-one, not everyone of course, but having some idea roughly of, you know, ways in which I could help you guys improve as competitive Magic players. And I also came in with this mentality of like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to try to implement as many of these high-level skills as I can and help you guys get from players that are really ambitious to the best Magic players that you can be. And I think some of this that was a massive success is you guys are all extremely hardworking and intelligent young people that, one, are very passionate about this and clearly have the capacity to play this super hard strategy game at a high level. And two, I found that you guys were sociable in a way that made this feel less like work and more like a collaboration between everyone involved. And that's the part of it that I found to be the most like, I wasn't sure what to expect, but this was super special. And I liked that it felt super communal in that sense. You guys were amazing to work with, every single one of you. And moving forward, whether or not we do another Magic Camp and you guys are involved, I just want to say that I'm here as a resource for you guys to chat with about Magic. I'm here as someone that you can come to about your personal life, whatever you need, and I'm a friend to you guys. So thank you for being part of this experience, and this was awesome.
I think I want all of you all to take away from this that you all are good. Like, you're the good ones. You can do anything. You can do it.
One of the things I just want to talk about really fast is, you know, I think Nathan brought up that everyone's really ambitious, and I think, you know, Paul just said you're all good enough. I want everybody to understand that we went into this not knowing what to expect. You know, one of the things that Nathan and I had talked about when we were planning was like, we didn't know what level people were at, and just generally Magic's a really hard game, and improving at Magic is very difficult. It's something that you'll hear a lot of people say is that there never really was, we were literally talking about this the other night, there's never really like a light switch or a light bulb moment that typically happens for people that do really well at this game. Most of the progress I think is typically pretty slow, and so you know, obviously we anticipated that there would be some amount of growth throughout this week, but we were talking about it last night, it is so incredibly impressive. Like, the Magic that is being played in the room is not the same game that was being played 3 days ago. I think you guys all should be really, really incredibly proud about how much growth and how much you've been able to take all of the things people have told you and apply that to your games. It's really, it's a different game. So congratulations, like, it's impressive to watch how much growth there's been in the room this week. We're talking about, you know, reflections and all of the things that have happened this week and all of, you know, that shenanigans. I also want to be a little sappy. You know, obviously thank you for opening your home. Thank you to all of the parents for putting the trust in us. I think, you know, Adam reached out to me for the first time around 4 months ago, and, you know, I think we've all talked a little bit about how I'm newer to the pro scene, and I was very excited because, you know, I knew Dana and I liked a lot of the kids, and one of the things is, like, I would have loved to have something like this growing up, but I was certainly in way too much over my head. We were talking about it and we had a lot of ideas. So I want to say, you know, thank you to the parents for bringing everybody together. You know, campers, there needed to be a lot of things to make this work. And I think one of those was that you guys needed to trust us. And I think that this has been an incredibly positive experience for us because everyone has been so receptive. And everyone has been so trusting. So really, thank you guys. This has been a great experience as a result. And you know, the rest of the coaches, thank you guys so much. I think originally I was certainly in way too much over my head, and without you guys, there's no way that I think this would have come together in the way that it did. So thank you, everybody. This is awesome. And hopefully we can do it.
I also want to, as a parent, one of the great things this week has been seeing all of the kids having fun together and smiling and laughing and telling jokes with each other and hanging out when they weren't playing Magic but just chatting about their lives and all that good stuff. And that was great to see. But it was also awesome that the other parents were great to hang out with, and it was a lot of fun for us because it was just a great group of people all together. And obviously coaches are part of the great group of people.
The fact that we had to get multiple more boxes of Edge of Eternities is a good thing.
Exactly, because we were counting so much. But yeah, and that was really awesome, and you know, there wouldn't have been a guarantee that would be true, and I think that was both more likely to be true in Magic than in many communities, and that this was still, even for adjusting for that, a really great group, and so.
After we did those really nice reflections, we did some things to remember camp, like signing everyone's playmats, and Nathan all gave us cards that wrapped up who we were at Magic Camp. Here's an example of some of the Duelist of the Mind cards that campers got. There was someone who was the life of the party, the Magic Camp champ, the best Warzone gamer, the person who was the best at putting contested war zones on top of people's decks, and the most improved. One of these 4 Duelists of the Mind represents me. Let me know in the comments if you think you know which one it is. Now it's time for us all to sign the matching playmats that the coaches got for us.
Alright,
nice.
I'm gonna look up the Naughty folks in TT Naughty. Storm was the second biggest deck against Naughty.
Oh no!
And I got
Mike, you know what we're doing? We are all going around, we have a color in front of our playmat, and we sign a play. Each person's playmat gets signed with.
Wait, we were on a team, right?
No,
basically,
if I would voted,
you're gonna sit where Nathan is sitting, and people are gonna sign your mat in gold. That's gonna be yours.
Yeah, and you're gonna sign other people's mats.
Wait, do you
Oh yeah.
No. He's gonna sign the
Win 2 of your games and then sign.
It was called
That's what I want you to think.
And
5 colors
I'm
for
very serious that we must be into this team.
To wrap up the final night of Magic Camp, we did a team draft.
are both surrounding me in the closet, and I
So
I
we
wish
have
I was kidding.
Nicole's team building over here. Their draft deck.
I wish I was kidding. I think if I tried to get
And then over here in the kitchen, we have Nathan's team building their decks. We have parents.
Oh, this is a great game.
Otherwise, around the house, so we have this old school going on over here. Old school going on in the living room.
Fumbling my way through this deck.
Lots of different things going on here. We have younger siblings hanging out on the couch. So there you go. That's Magic Camp. And near the end of day 4.
That's a wrap on Magic Camp Day 4. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, check out the other videos in the Magic Camp playlist so you get more of a full idea of what Magic Camp was. We still have time for some more Magic Camping tomorrow morning for Day 5. But that one is only a half day as a lot of people had flights that left that afternoon. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next time.